internal muscular contractions that are necessary for exhausting that last little bit of air that you don't want to let out. You want to breathe more in. But you also want to take more in. Now make it hard for yourself. Look, this proves itself every time I go through a breath restrictive posture that is more perfect than I was before I was doing it. It's perfecting my connection to the natural world. How? By maximizing my breath, by getting as much of it inside of me as possible, by becoming that, because all those air molecules, they're building the cells. Those and all of the nutrients from the foods you consume become you at the molecular and atomic level. We know that to be true, but we don't think about that. If we did, we'd make different decisions. If we understood what permaculture can do, we would make different decisions. If we appreciated that, we would make different decisions. If we want to change the way in which we live, it can't go on. It's unsustainable. The world as it is unsustainable. You cannot continue this type of resource extraction and consumption indefinitely. Everyone recognizes that. So why aren't we trying to be as efficient as possible? Why aren't we setting higher standards or higher goals? Why aren't we all conserving as much energy as we can while integrating the different pieces of technology that enable us to compete? This is the foundational knowledge that enables you to be in the classroom and to have awakened to what your perfect posture is. What is it that enables you to get into the perfect relationship? To do your part in this perfect relationship between you and this body and the gravitational forces around you. The other people, the other electromagnetic entities that have their own fields. Somehow, if your eyes are open, your visual cortex is a part of this. Somehow, the brainstem is a part of this. Somehow, the prefrontal cortex is a part of this. This, I believe, is the greatest contribution to human civilization that the Chinese Taoists made, that all of the theological traditions have utilized to bring about a unification, a justification for the ideology that has the power to unify and override whatever divisions there are. 1400 Garfield Avenue. This, everyone who is a uThronist, who believes in uThronism, which is a system of understanding and integrating the atomic theory to the physiological experience with the invisible forces, both the invisible forces within and those without us that govern, that interplay, that interface with us. And these can be what we have to bear. These are the burdens that we have to bear. This is how we can activate more of us and thus change our neurobiology. By letting them be an extension of that which traces, that which conforms to the curves and the lines of the body. Because those are the ways in which we conform to the laws of the universe, the laws of gravity, the laws of physics. The tracks are there. The paths are there. We can choose what to close and what to open. We get to innovate. We get to learn. We get to acquire these techniques throughout all of our lives. And that's a beautiful thing, is it not? The older you get, the more experience you get creating these unique neural networks that are commanding your physiology from the source to the extremes. I ruined my body because I just didn't know. I didn't see. I didn't. There was, nobody knew. Nobody knew. And nobody trusted what it was that made them be derisive, be silently derisive. We can't compete with ourselves. We have to compete with that invisible foe. The invisible enemy. The invisible competitor in China, in South Korea, in Ukraine. We have to be integrating all of that into who we are and how we live. If we don't, one could argue that it is a form of existential neglect that that we can correct. We can alter its recognition, which can alter its effect. And that means we're altering the consequences of it. This position is just, it's enabling you to make this turn with something else. It's enabling you to open up. What's the first part that opens up? You know, what's the first initiation of that opening? Or is it equalized? In different maneuvers, in different positions, along different meridians, you inevitably get different networks, different combinations of commands and choreographed trips. You're arising somewhere in the brain. There's a point of origin for the electricity that's always existing in the brain. And you're letting it go. You're letting it travel. Just like on a road trip, you might take the back roads and find a beautiful spring, a natural spring, a state park or something. But you might go and you end up at Elon Musk's house, which he doesn't even have a house. I think he sleeps at Tesla and SpaceX. There is a way in which you can create these new networks based on these new movements. These new ways of connecting to the environment. That are conforming to what the body needs. How do you generate the most equalized, the most fair, the most even, the most unbiased, the most objective, the most balanced system for taking in the world?